Welcome back to a tournament report from UK Masters 2022. Yes, indeed, against everyone's expectations and some people's actual belief, including my own, I qualified for Masters this year. So I ended up, I think I was 19th on the leaderboard. The Masters season ran from 2019 all the way to 2022. And I only played 5 events in all of that time that qualified for Masters, but one of them was second place at a very big tournament, and that gave me lots of points, fortunately. The way Masters works is the top 16 get a place, and then best in race who aren't the top 16 get a place. I wasn't any of those. I actually played 4 different armies across those 5 events, so that didn't really help me in best in race. But if one of the top 16 can't make it, then it drops down, and I think 3 or 4 couldn't make it, and so it dropped down to at least me. I think it dropped a couple places below me as well, so I was lucky enough to go, so that's good. Yep, so it's a 5-game 2,300 point tournament played with Clash of Kings 2021 rules. So the UK Masters Committee decided that they wanted the tournament to be played with the rules that you qualified under, brackets mostly, because there was a couple of tournaments at the end, but it's not important. So we are in last year, so if you're looking for exciting new Clash of Kings 22 shenanigans, you will have to look elsewhere. So having failed dismally at Stain of Blood with my Undead List, I naturally put them back in a box and then got them out again. So yeah, I thought, you know what, I'm a very inconsistent player at best. I need an army that can manage inconsistency, and so I brought out Undead. These points aren't quite right, because this is the Clash 22 points, so the Revenant Cavalry are more expensive. Are they? Something changed. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is what I took. So I have a regiment of zombies, just for like tokens and that. I have a horde of revenants with a brew of strength. I have double wraith troops as chaff. I have soul reaver infantry with blessing of the gods. Double revenant cavalry troops. So it's the tournament I went to before with Undead was 1995, so I'm able to take more chaff, which I think will really help me. I have a soul reaver cavalry regiment with dwarven ale. Now everyone knows soul reaver cavalry are like soul reaver infantry, but not as good. However, I have the models, so if you have the models, you take the unit. That's my rule. I don't have. Well, actually, I do have enough units to take Soul Reaver Infantry twice, because I'm using my Twilight King models for them. But I want to take the cavalry, one of the mix of speed in my list, and I think they're cool. A horde of werewolves with Potion of the Caterpillar. A horde of wights with the Boots of Striding. Double Necromancer, both with weakness. One has Conjurer's Staff, one has the Inspiring Talisman. A Pharaoh with Wings, and a Standard Bearer with the Loot. So I would have very much liked one of the Necromancers to have Bane Chant as well. I couldn't quite afford it, so I took Weakness instead on both of them. And that's because I experienced an Undead army with double weakness, and it was horrible, being constantly weakened. I don't think I really used that weakness well enough in this tournament. I will be frank. I did my best, and I did weakness a lot of things. I might not remember all of them as we're going through this, but trust me, there was weakness going on. But I did want to put the wings on the Cursed Pharaoh because I think he's great at Defense 6. He's still brilliant at Defense 5, plus that 10-inch range will really help me shut down things like flyers, which I struggled with in the last tournament. So, without further ado, on to my first match, which was against Chris. I don't think he'll mind me saying his full name, because you will know Chris Walsh, because he is the best hobbyist in the world. He is extraordinary, and you will see his extraordinarily beautiful army during this game. And he brought Trident Realms with Nightstalker allies, because that's the models he made. So here is his Trident Realm list. He had a horde of Ensnarers with the Chalice of Wrath, double Tidal Swarm for chaff, double Gigas, double Nucker, double Kraken. Alright, so there's a nice little doubling. An Envoy with Bastion, Ector, the special hero, and then his allied contingent was a horde of fiends and a Void Lurker, so no items other than the Chalice of Wrath. But a Defense 6 core from the front in the Gigas, because they have big shield. Knuckers for sweeping the flanks along with the Void Lurker, and Krakens for even more tar pit. Not a lot of killing stuff. Right, so maybe that's why he brought the fiends in, but they do only hit on 4s despite having a lot of attacks. So it's more of a grind list, I think. A lot of regen, a lot of ensnare. So that's what I'm facing it. And we are playing the first scenario, which is Dominate. And so this was our battlefield. So we have all the terrain was standard heights. I would say the tables weren't terribly good. We were playing in some place in Daventry, which is in the East Midlands of the UK, if you care. Kind of a small venue, and the terrain was a little bit worn. And the tables were a little bit not quite right. So you see the edge of this thing over here is actually falling off. Also, full disclosure, last tournament report I was gloating because I had a new camera which allows me to take photographs in a 16:9 format, which means you don't get these black bars here. And I had the same camera this time, but I forgot to set the camera to take the wider photos. So I'm afraid it is Black Bar City for the entire tournament report. I'm sorry. It's my fault, you can blame me. Right, anyway, onto the terrain. So we have a height 6 forest and a height 6 forest. We have a height flat piece of rough terrain here and here. We have 2 height 2 walls here, height 3 hills here and here, and a height 6 building. Okay, dominate circle is about here-ish. Okay, so 12 inches, like that. All right. And this is how we set up. So I think Chris might have won the... You know what? I can't remember who won the roll for sides. It might be me. I think it might be me because I chose the side without the house on. Chris chose to put his ensnarers over here. So these are his horde of ensnarers. I'm quite happy with that. They're going to take forever to get over here, which is good. That's his Void Lurker, which obviously he's hoping to hop over the building. There's a Tidal Swarm here and a Tidal Swarm here. This is Ector, the weird baby-faced thing. It's gross. These are the 2 hordes of Gigas. We have the Envoy, Double Kraken, Fiends, and then the Knuckers on this flank. So here is what Chris is planning to do. He's trundling forward with his Defense 6 and ensnaring stuff, and he is enveloping and enveloping. Right, that's his plan. My plan to counter that, so I am just punching through the centre. So here's what I have. I have Rev Cav, Soul Reaver Cav, Inspiring Necromancer here. Yeah. And then in the centre I have my Double Wraith Regiment with the Revenants. Okay, there's a Flying Mummy here. That's the other Necromancer, Soul Reaver Infantry Zombies. On the right hand side, faster flank against these Knuckers. I have my Wights, Werewolves. Is there a hero in the middle there? There should be. Yeah, the standard bearer's there. And that's the Rev Cav. Okay, on the side. So this little bit, look at some of those models. They are very, very pretty. Oh, they're lovely. All hand sculpted. That's Rusty Shackleford's bottom, by the way. And I did ask him, can I put your bottom on the internet? And he said yes. These are the Gigas. Very nice. Beautiful. And here's my stuff. It's not quite as nice. Let's skip over that. I don't know whose bottoms those are. I can only apologise. I don't remember. So, these are the scout moves, because of course Tidal Swarm have scout. So he scouted them slightly forward. Not a lot to say about that, but I win first turn. So off we go. Here's my plan. I am going to move forward very, very fast with all my flying stuff. So none of this will... I think his Kraken can come into these Wraiths if they want to, because they can charge up to speed 7, I want to say. Wild charge D3. So they can charge up to 17 inches. So all of this stuff is out of 17. I think that's out of 17. These guys are in, and I'm happy for him to charge that because then he's going to get killed. I don't think he does though. So my plan is to come up here. He's going to take a couple of turns to get his stuff over on the left, which you'll see in a minute. I am going to jam up with my Wraiths as soon as possible, and then I'm going to Soul Reaver him, right? And White him. At which point, it doesn't matter how much fast I've got around the edge because I'll be able to turn and defend. Right, so here we are on the edge. So you can see this Void Lurker to come 20 would end up about here, and then he's going to get locked down by Revs. So that's my first move. I think I even... Yep, I think I surged these guys a bit forward as well. But anyway. So yep, so he sees that he can't do that, so he simply plays it cagey. He's got enough turns to do that, so these guys start trundling forwards. And these guys all start trundling forwards too. Yep, so much so exciting. On the right hand side, so he's cautious. I actually forgot for the first 2 turns that Knuckers are height 5. I thought they couldn't see over the hill. I was being very brave with everything on this flank. So I was like, yeah, whatever, don't even care. He's then moved his tidal swarm like he's turned it slightly sideways so that whatever attacks it is going to get fiended and krakened from every side. So that's probably not a great idea. So turn 2, this is what I do. I enact my plan. So I looked at where he places Void Lurker here, and I measured the line of sight, which is like that. Okay, he can't see me, so I just go forward like this. If he does pop him here, I'm not really bothered because I'm going to kill everything here and then turn around. That's the plan. Okay, so I move up really close, and what I've got my Surging Necromancer here, and I've got my Mummy here. So the Wraiths have gone into both of the Gigas, and you'll see here I've got a flank, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I've moved my Revcav here, and I think I need a Surge 6 to get into the flank of Ector. Don't forget, Ector has Phalanx, which is bad for cavalry. I think he has Ensnare as well. Anyway, and I'm going to flank him with these cavalry and hopefully take him off in a turn. I mean, it's 16 attacks on 4s and 4s. It's not wildly unlikely. It's not wildly likely either. But let's just go back, because you can see here the mistake. Right, so these are his Gigas he's brought forward, and here's his Kraken, and these are my werewolves. So I have a lovely line of sight here. So that's their arc of sight. Line of sight is easy like that. So it's a very easy flank for me, and I have Pathfinder. Right, great, good job me. So I spot that and I flank it, and he's like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Oh yes." No mercy. But then I do something very silly, because even in the flank they're defense 5 and I'm only crush 1. I need my Bane Chanter, and I was just kind of fiddling around, and I thought, oh, I don't want to get him charged by this Kraken. I'll move him out of the way. And I moved him backwards over here rather than forwards over here, where he needed to be in order to Bane Chant the werewolves. And I only realised this when I'd started casting. I did the surges first, and I looked and went, oh god, I forgot my Bane Chanter. He's in the wrong place. That could be really bad. Let's find out if it is. So on this side, he's been cautious here, which is good for me. I've moved back a little bit with his Revcav, so that he can't just charge in with his Knucker. And I've kept my whites here with their foot in the wood, their front in the wood, so I can see out, so I can charge if anything comes forward. Right? I'm expecting the werewolves to die, but I'm also expecting these guys to die. So when these guys turn around, he's going to have to come in here, right? And then he's got Soul Reavers and whites. Great. So I get the Surge off from the Mummy and the Necromancer, which is great, into the flank of Ector. And I cast Weakness. Now, 2 tokens here. There's a red one and a green one. I don't know what either of them mean. One of them means weakness, definitely. One of them's weakness. Maybe both of them are weakness. I doubt it, because the one cast Surge. So that one's... Oh, I know. Ah, there you go. I remember now. That's Bastion. So this one's got Bastion from the Envoy. This one is weakness. There you go. So the Revcav performed very averagely. So 16 attacks on 4s and 4s. 4 wounds, which is bang on average. But then they pull off a lucky waver, which is really... all I wanted, really. So that's great. Ector's wavered. Yeah, and this is really depressing. So 1 wound from these guys onto this Giga Horde is fine. 10 wounds from the werewolves in the flank and the wraiths in the front. It's alright. It's pretty good. It's enough to take them off. But with the Bastion, I do not. I think I rolled a 5 on the nerve. So that is poor. There were a lot of... 3s in what I rolled. It would have taken them off. So, but anyway, so he made a mistake, and then I followed it up with a similar mistake. So that's just how it goes. Anyway, there we are. So on to Chris's turn 2. So he then brings his Void Lurker into threatening position, and these guys continue to trundle. And then he simply turns Ector around and charges the Tidal Swarm in the back of my Revcav, which I'm not really worried about. They've got no crushing strength. So counter charge, and of course flank and rear from the Krakens onto these werewolves, who are not long for this beautiful world. He turns the Tidal Swarm to defend against all of this nonsense. And he brings up his other stuff, so Knuckers are doing what Knuckers do and coming into very nasty positions for me. So 5 wounds on the Revcav and they're okay. 2 wounds on the Wraiths and they're also okay. And 2 wounds on those Wraiths. They're also okay. werewolves are not okay. The werewolves are dead. There's no big surprise there. Very sad. Turn 3. Well, time to fight back now. Now, this turn, everything needs to happen. Right? It's my last chance now. I made that mistake. That's fine. Sometimes make a mistake. First game. Happens. That needs to die. That needs to die. Something over here needs to die. Okay? These guys don't care about because they're rubbish and they're hard to kill and they don't do any damage. But seriously, things need to die on this side because I've got a Void Lurker coming in, right? So we are going to smash face because I've got vampires. Ha 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 ha. So here's what I do. I charge into Ector again with these guys, which was really stupid. Well, was it stupid? I think I did the maths. Did I do the maths? I don't think I did do the maths, really, did I? I should have killed the Tidal Swarm. Because, I think because he had 4 wounds, he hadn't regenerated any of them, I thought, I can finish him off even if I hit him on 6s. No. So I've got my Necromancer here. He's out of line of sight. I have charged in with my Soul Reaver Cavalry off the hill. So I'm now Thunderous 2, Crush 1 into the Gigas. Wraiths also in, so it's a multi-charge. The other ones, to enable this to happen, had to move out of the way and not charge. So I've moved them over and I'm just going to surge them in here. Okay. Why have I... Oh, that's right. I've left the flank of my Revenants open for the Void Lurker. I'm really hoping he'll take it because it'll be hindered because of this wall. I've got my Soul Reavers ready to come in next turn. I have I've charged my whites into the other Tidal Swarm over here. And I've put my Flying Pharaoh in the front of this Kraken to just hold him in place. And then over here, so the other Rev Cav from here have charged into these Fiends to stop them coming forward, hold them up for a turn or so. Okay? And we're just pretending that this doesn't exist, as does the other Nucker over there. They don't exist to me anymore. So realistically, you're going to get Nucker, possibly Nucker into the whites. So what happens here? So that's just showing the damage. So I think, yes, maybe he did reach anyway. I didn't kill him. Whatever. I'm an idiot. Even more disastrously, I absolutely fluffed these attacks. Just horrific. Horrific. So depressing. Even looking at it, it causes me pain to look at it now. So Soul Reaver Cavalry off a hill. That's 20 attacks on 3s and 3s. Plus Wraiths, we get to 11 wounds. I proceed to roll a 3 on the nerve. Disastrous. Even more so, these guys, how many wounds were they on before? Can anyone remember? Anyone? Bueller? Well, they're already on 10 wounds. They were already on 10 wounds, right? They were on 10 wounds from the flank and everything. And I don't do any wounds with these Wraiths at all. None. Which is horrific. So neither of the Gigahorse that I needed to die this turn die. They just didn't. Not great. 1 wound on the Kraken. No one cares. 3 wounds on the Fiends. Still no one cares. Look at these. Look at this modelling. It's gross. This one's like a... Anyway. It's got teeth and it doesn't look very pleasant. So yeah. So naturally, I then get Void Lurker in the flank. Gigas in the front. He also puts Ector in, which I think is just mean. These Gigas counter charge. I can't remember one of these two. We get a Kraken and a Nucker, and he brings the other Nucker around here rather than charge it in. Maybe didn't have line of sight, I don't know. Okay, great. Counter charge here from the Fiends. These guys are like, hey, wake up, we're coming! We're coming! That is 9 wounds onto my Rev Cav from this second rear charge from the Tidal Swarm. Still not dead. Soul Reaver Cavalry are very dead. Very dead. As are the other... So yeah, so these Gigas must have charged into these Wraiths and then sidestepped after they killed them. I am feeling very sad about my life. However, a small bright spark is that the mummy didn't take much damage from the Kraken, because Kraken are terrible at fighting. And then these guys, so a Kraken and the Nucker, did 10 wounds onto my whites, and he doesn't roll the requisite 7 to kill them. turn 4. So, still in the game. Barely. I mean, a little bit. So, if you remember, I'd put my the Revenant Horde as a trap, waiting for his Void Lurker, which he'd ignored. So I just turn them and move them. One of the great things about Undead is Surge. If you haven't got lines of sight, so I move them there so I can surge them into the Void Lurker. Not on the wall anymore, so that's good. I then get my Soul Reavers into the Giga Horde over here. Countercharge with the Mummy. The race that were here, I fly over and turn twice so I can recharge this Giga Horde and finally get rid of them because they should be dead. And I finally remember to charge the correct target with my Revenant Cavalry onto that Tidal Swarm. Over here, so I countercharge the Nucker with the whites. I put a blank base there, but yeah. I turn my zombies around because they're going to get charged pretty soon. And I think I'm throwing out weaknesses, and I think I might fail a bunch of weaknesses at this point. Because that's all this guy's got to do. I know he's there for Surge, isn't he? Yeah. Or maybe the other one's out for Surge as well. God knows. So there, we get the Surge off into the battle. Right, I need 2 Surges, right? So he's surging these ones, and the other guy's surging the Revenants. There you go. See, I know what I'm doing. So we get the Surge into the back. So it's a nice rear attack. 30 attacks on 4s and 4s. We get the Surge off here, so it's a frontal charge. We Bane Chant from the Sounder Bearer. We Bane Chant this time. Bloody hell. To kill these guys that haven't taken a wound last turn. And how good is that? See? Sometimes luck pays off. Even though, you know, I was rolling horribly on nerves. I rolled a series of 3s for nerve checks. It's just so painful for those giggers not to die. 3 damage from the Revenant Horde, which is terrible. I mean, that is terrible, isn't it? But I rolled a double 6. So, you know, it's wavered. We kill the Giga Horde there. We kill the Giga Horde there. So Gigas are finally dead. However, lots of things are now going to come and kill me. So let's see what happens. We do 5 wounds. Oh, look, is that a weakness? That's a waver. It's a waver. So it's 5 wounds from the whites onto this Nucker and a waver, which is very lucky. And look, I forgot to do my life leech. Oh well. Now, something's happened here, and I can't remember what it is. Oh, so I'm looking at the... I'm not sure what happens here. So, oh, I do know what happens here. So, yes, okay. So I've charged here. His Kraken here then turns, and this Nucker also turns and comes off here into my zombie regiment, which allows the fiends to come into my very damaged whites. Over here, I don't think he charges my mummy. Because he's done... Yes, so he simply backed up the Kraken. This is smart. I know it's really smart. Kraken's only on 1 wound because it keeps regenerating them, and the mummy's not done any damage. So rather than fight pointlessly against this defense 6 mummy, he just backs up, who's also, you know, life leeched and regen loads of wounds. And he's backed up like this to say, okay, you want to charge me with the Soul Reavers, these, you know, invincible killing machines, you can. It'll be hindered and ensnared. Carry on. So rather than hitting on 3s, I'll be hitting on 5s. And I'm not going to kill that Kraken. Smart move. Oh, look! The Ensnarers have decided to come and join the party. That's nice, isn't it? So Ector comes into my Wraith troop over there. Yep, that's about the sum total of it. My brave Rev Cav troop finally dies to the Tidal Swarm, who are now only on 1 wound, because I don't know, regen? I assume they do. Even worse, he rolls like a boss from Ector and kills off the other Wraith troop. That was, like, I was so depressed. At this point, I'm like, for God's sake, what can I do? What can I do? And I've got a lucky waver, that's great, but they were only on 1 wound. 1 wound? They were dash 12? So he rolled like a boss, and he rolled a nerve check off the charts. He rolled an 11, anyway, whatever. On the other side of the table, look, it's all very swingy, isn't it? Very exciting. So 13 wounds for my Wraiths from this Fiend charge. A hindered Fiend charge, though, because I'm not that bad at positioning. And he double ones it. Double ones it. Still in the game, kind of. Zombie regiment dies, though. So now I've got Kraken facing this way, into the back of this regiment. and a knucker facing this way into everything else. So that's bad. Turn 5. So I was really hoping this Wraith Troop would be able to do something cool, and now it can't do anything. Oh, that's my dog groaning next to us. That's nice, isn't it? So this is where we're looking. It's not looking great, is it, guys? Because we've got a Knucker, Kraken, Knucker, Fiends, Void. Oh, Jesus, I just dominate. Oh. Okay, so here's what we. Oh, this is after. Sorry, obviously it was getting a little bit low on time, so the combat I didn't quite. Didn't quite take the pictures. So here's what happens. This Soul Reaver troop goes into the flank. We go in the front here, right, to get rid of the fiends. I couldn't think of anything better or cleverer to do, if I'm honest, because I can't see anything with these Soul Reavers other than the. If I go into that one, I'm never going to kill it unless I roll ridiculous, which I'm most likely not going to. The mummy goes into Ector, just because I hate him and I want him to die. We go back in here. Yeah, but hope is slipping away from my fingers. So we kill the fiends. Of course we do. It was 50 attacks in the flank and 18 in the front. Ridiculous. And then I don't know what to tell you. When I repositioned them, I forgot that this model exists. Which sounds ridiculous because look at it. How can you forget that model exists? But I genuinely didn't even look there. Oops. Genuinely didn't even look there. I turned them, so okay, well, you've got a flank with the Knucker, but it's a front with that Knucker. Or you can, one of them's going to have to kill this. Forgetting there's a Kraken in the rear. Just stupid. However, over on this side, alright, so I waver Ector again, so the mummy wavers Ector. Go, mummy! And regens loads. But I roll insane with the Revenants and kill off the Void Lurker. I rolled an 11, so that was great. Unfortunately, I've got Kraken in the rear. Kraken in the rear on 2 units, plus these guys. I mean, I didn't know. Wow, who do you want me to attack on which side? I literally can't win there, can I? It really might have been better. Might have been better to turn them like yay. Because I probably would have been able to get a front and a flank. But I would have been reared by these guys. Which is much better than being reared by a Kraken. So just very shoddy positioning on this turn for me. Fair to say. Because this happens. Oh god. Oh, that's awful. Awful. Flank. Flank. Rear. Rear. And all this. So, you can imagine. Dead, dead, dead. I'll remind you, this is Dominate, where you need unit strength. I have an individual, an individual, an individual. That's what I got. That's what I've got. Turn 6. We leg it. Oh, I also got this individual. We run. We run and we run. That's my whole turn. And then he double charges me with Ector and the Kraken on turn 6. And he's putting everything in the Dominate circle. 13 wounds and a double 1 to finish off with. That's into my first game. Shameful. I'm afraid this is the only screenshot I've got of the scoreboard. It's very blurry. Apologies for that. But you can see that I'm down here. I haven't got a 7. Mr. Walsh is up there with a 24-point victory. So very strong at the end of turn 1. End of game 1. So not my finest hour, it's fair to say. A couple of very small mistakes and some appalling dice rolls. Now I did get good dice rolls, but they weren't in places that really, were decisive. And the poor ones were in extremely decisive places where I literally, I'd had to succeed in order to win. I didn't, so that put me down near the bottom, joint bottom. So let's roll on to game 2. Okay, so we are on to game 2 now. Normally, if you crash and burn in game 1, what you expect for game 2 is something of an easy ride. Unfortunately, this being Masters, there is no easy ride, and the Nick that is referenced here, who has also bought Undead, is of course Nick Williams. If you don't know who Nick Williams is, he is a bit of a legend in the Kings of War scene. Don't tell him I said that. He used to be in the Rules Committee, very, very good player. And he's bought an even more disgusting list than I have, which is hard. So he has bought a Jarvis Undead lid, so they're good Undead. He's got Jarvis, he's got a single regiment of zombies, a troop of wraiths with healing brew, double Soul Reaver infantry, which is the right way to say Soul Reavers, obviously not lame-o cavalry like me, with Dwarven Ale Chalice of Wrath. Very relevant later. Remember that. He has brought 2 troops and a horde of Revenant Cavalry, the horde having the Brew of Sharpness, because gross, that would be 32 attacks on 3s. Double Whites with Striding Boots and Haste. A Rev King with Blade of Slashing and Horse. A Necromancer with the Inspiring Talisman, Bane Chant on a horse. And another Necromancer with Weakness. So, not terribly dissimilar to my list, apart from all the flipping Rev Cav, but very, very punchy. And we were playing Raise, which is my least favourite scenario. So this is the table, and I've got, I don't like to whinge, but this table's bloody awful. Not, the actual terrain is fine, it's pretty standard terrain, but this line that you can see here is because there were 2 tables that just didn't match. So this was an actual huge bump in the table, which is not, and it's this horrible green mat. Anyway, stop complaining. On with the game. So we were playing Raise. Please excuse the army box here, but it shows where the tokens are. So if you don't know what Raise is, you get a token in the center that can't be taken off, and then you each place 3 tokens on your opponent's half of the board, 6 inches from the center line. And from turn 2 onwards, you can raise them, get rid of them if you control them. The person with you can't raise this one in the middle, but it can be controlled at the end. The person with the most tokens raised or controlled at the end is the winner. All right, so this is how we deployed. This is a strategically placed can of cider, behind which Nick has hidden his Soul Reaver infantry. I can't remember which ones they are, and it's not important. And there is one of his Revenant Cavalry, and that's the Rev King on a horse. There's his troop of Wraiths. They are the Whites. I think these are the Whites with Strider. That's the Rev Cav Horde, and he's got his Necromancers behind it with his Zombie Regiment. There is the other Soul Reaver infantry. Oh, there's the... So that's just one Necromancer there, sorry. This one is then... Oh, in fact, that's Jarvis. That's what that is. I don't know where the other Necromancer is. Hiding. There's the Necromancer on a horse. There's the Whites with Haste, and there is another Rev Cav troop. Okay? So opposite that, so on this side, so if you remember the tokens, so I've got 1 token here and 2 tokens here. Okay? Nick's got 1 here and 2 here. So this is where the magic happens, right? So he's gone light on this side over here. So I've got my Werewolves and Soul Reaver Cavalry up against his Whites and Rev Cav. So I think I win this flank because I'm faster. We'll see. And then I've got my Revenant Horde with the non-inspiring Necromancer, zombies at back. That's the Flying Mummy. Double Wraith Troop with my Soul Reavers, Infantry. Rev Cav with Standard Bearer, other Rev Cav, and then down here are Whites. Okay, so I've gone quite heavy with all of my chaff here. And 2 of the punchy units. Okay, so I've spread it more evenly. My plan here is I'm going to win this flank quick and come across, and then I'm going to throw chaff into all this scary stuff. So the job of the mummy is to go straight into the Rev Cav and hold them for as long as possible. Then we're going to send defense 6 stuff into all of this and hold it off long enough for everything else to come in, right? And therefore win. Well, what do you think? Let's find out. So this is just some close-up shots of what I've just told you. You see that? Ah, there's the Necromancer. Look, here he is. Oh, is that? No, that's the Horseman. Man, I'm bad at this. You'd think I wasn't there. There he is. There's the Necromancer. That's Jarvis. Necromancer. See? I know what I'm talking about. There's my stuff I just told you about. Any questions? Ah, this is a recording. Okay, so I win first turn. Yay! And off I go, because in Raise, you always should go first. So I move forward. So this is 16. Obviously, I am now within his charge. He's within my charge, I mean. Everything else just trundles forwards, and on this side we trundle forwards, so I think I am outside of 16 here as well. Outside of 15 of these guys, because they charge 14 plus the haste. Oh no, that's the haste ones over there, so actually forget that. And his wraiths are behind the wood, so you can't see. Yay! So this is outside of 16, I believe. And that was my very exciting turn 1. Do I do any surging? Doesn't look like I do. So, on Nick's turn, he keeps, you can see the rulers helpfully illustrating that his Soul Reaver infantry are outside of the range of my Soul Reaver cavalry. However, this is not. So he's just said, go on then, charge me if you want to. Okay, and he's moved Jarvis over. He's moved everything else into the forest. So again, he's probably in 16 here. And in 16 here. With those, because he doesn't care, because he's got surgible hammer here and non-surgible hammer here. That's his plan, I think. So turn 2. That was exciting, wasn't it? Isn't it great when you've got no shooting? Just a punch in the middle. So I decide that I am going to smash face because, and I'll tell you why, in raise it's most important to just get your tokens raised as quickly as possible. So I quickly see here that Nick, by being careful with his troops, he's allowed me to get both of my Rev Cav troops in here. I will control this token and get rid of it. So I just do it because I've got enough chaff to do it. I don't really care. So I'm going to get rid of that token, so I'm just going to do that as quickly as possible. Over here I push these wraiths forward because I, again, don't care. What I want. So my mummy, as promised, has gone into the Rev Cav. By the way, these shields say we're only deaf 4. And we're only melee 4. Melee 4. We're only melee 4. It's a nerf joke. Oh, yeah, it's fine. So I push these guys forward. So mummy's gone in here, so they can't get past the mummy. And I don't think they'll kill him in 1, because he's going to hopefully do 1 wound to take their thunderous away. If the whites and or wraiths come in here, I've got revenants, I've got soul reavers on a hill, so I can see, and I've got more wraiths. Okay, so I think that's a decent thing to do to put them there. And over here, I decide not to take the charge that was offered, so instead I just move the werewolves over. He's inspiring them and them. Really to kind of just try and separate these 3 out a little bit more. Alright. And there you go. Mummy does 2 wounds. Action shot there. So they now have no thunderous charge. So he's looking grand. I think that's 5 wounds, even with Bane Chant on one of them. Which isn't enough to kill them. But it is enough for me to get the token. And that's all I care about. So next turn 2. Here's some measuring going on. I think there's just some surge here, by the way, which is why they're so far forward. Might be anyway. Might be not. Who cares? So what did Nick do? Yes. So I don't know what's gone on here. They got turned somehow. I'm not sure how. I think it's because of the dodgy mat. Anyway, they should have been flat, but they weren't. So he's flown his... Rather than take the flank, he's thought, sod you, I'll take the back. So he's flown them round, and he's going to surge them into the rear with this Necromancer. Fair enough. That's what I'd do too. I'm not sure what the whites were doing. I think they were just holding back. Not sure why. Maybe I think they're outside of 14, maybe. And then obviously he's countercharging to my mummy. He has shuffled things forward. He's really gone for it now with the Rev Cav. He's like, right then, I'm gonna force you to charge me. And I've got both my hammers ready to come in here. And I'm like, not sure I like that. So the mummy takes only 4 damage and is fine because he is a badass. We take only 2 damage. So both the Rev King on a horse and these Rev Cav go into these Rev Cav. And only 2 damage is taken, which is marvellous. And then, rather tragically for these wraiths, the rear charge goes well, 9 damage onto the Rev Cav, and double 1. Wah, wah, wah. That is bad. That's a bad double 1. Turn 3. So here's what I do. I decide I'm bored of this now. I'm getting used to throwing werewolves away. I don't really like them very much. Werewolves go in. And again, this is for one and one reason only. I want the token. So by charging in, it doesn't matter if I win or lose or if they die. I've got the token, in which case I've now won. This whole flank is now not important to me apart from controlling this token. Right? So at that point, everything else can start coming this way. So I go for that. These guys shuffle forwards. Mummy goes back in because he's a badass. We throw the wraiths into these guys to block them up. So I'm really happy that he left them in charge range. I think I don't know why, really. Anyway. And that, because by putting the wraiths into them, I will do at least 1 damage, I hope, to stop them flying over. And now my Soul Reavers are ready to come into the cavalry, which is what I need. I take the rear charge here, of course. I didn't really need to double charge. I figured a troop of wraiths in the rear is enough, especially with some Bane Chant action. So I've got my whites ready. I countercharge these Revcav into the hero, because the big scary unit is the Soul Reavers back here. So by countercharging the hero, what I do is block the whole flank off. And the ones that they were double one, of course, take the flank of the Revcav. So hopefully all of these should get knackered off this turn. It is a hindered flank, but it doesn't really matter because it locks in the Soul Reavers, which is all I care about. Good. So we kill the Revcav, we take the token, it's now 2-0. We regenerate and then life leech the rest of this. Another wound onto the Revcav, so they have still no Thunderous. We do 5 extraordinary wounds to the whites, which is very good. Unfortunately, I'm not. These are within 3, so I can't quite get this one yet. Now over here, what do? We do 2 wounds onto these guys, which is pathetic. 1 wound onto him, which is even more pathetic. However, this Wraith troop, of course, dies hideously. So Nick's response, he double charges there because, you know, get rid of the werewolves seems sensible. The Soul Reavers managed to, now let's see where they were. Yes, you see they were slightly turned. So they've got line of sight here and they can turn this way and come in here and try and get them out of this kind of nightmare they've got stuck in. And then we get a... So which one's a flank? Yeah, so it's a flank here, the front, and then these guys go in here. So he's going to try and really clear this out to make space. Which seems sensible. That is a weakness. So the Necromancer has done a sneaky weakness onto my Soul Reavers because he knows what's coming next turn. Yeah, that's not good, is it? 4 wounds. Revcav are just very, very broken. I've decided this. So dash 14, defense 5. So the hindered flank, or the flank with no crushing, and the front 4 wounds. They're fine. I think these guys die. I don't think I took a photo of it, but they die. They're already on 9 wounds, and they're Soul Reavers, so come on. Oh, look at that. So 4 wounds onto my Wraiths, another double 1. Tragic. Very painful. I feel for you, Nick, I do. And that is simply showing. There's a lot of dice on the table, but they finally killed my mummy. So he got Bane Chant off, and the mummy dies. Sad times. And the werewolves also died. More sad times. This Necromancer, very scared. Down here. He's not Morgoth. I know it's the model for Morgoth. It's not Morgoth. Turn 4. So this is how the battlefield looked at the beginning of turn 4. You see that they did indeed die up here. So what's my plan? You see currently Nick hasn't got any of his tokens, which is good. I've taken it. Well, I got first turn, right? So I took it to him. There's only this one left, and I'm going to get that one this turn. So here's what we do. So on the right, you see I've got my Wraiths. Okay, we've got my Cav. So I countercharge this Revcav, countercharge into this Revcav, right? Which flattens them out like that, which allows the Wraiths to effortlessly slide down into the Rev King, which is nice because then I will be in the rear of the Soul Reavers, which is where you want to be. And you'll see this nice thing. So I'm here to do my Bane Chant because over here I've got a flank on the whites. So a flank and a front from the whites. I've got my Standard Bearer to Bane Chant them in the flank. Hopefully I can kill them off. And then Pièce de Resistance. Beautiful. I take a hindered charge from the Soul Reavers, and the cavalry come unhindered on the other side. So I've got a Necromancer here next to my zombies, which meant that the path went like this so that I didn't get hindered. So unhindered Soul Reavers, hindered foot Soul Reavers. Okay, and I've got I don't know what he does. I think at this point he is entirely superfluous. Zombies have moved up to the center token, and the Revenants charge into the Soul Reavers. We just really want to hold all these guys up. That's what we want to do now. So we do 7 wounds onto Soul Reavers hindered, which is pretty great. But then I don't roll the nerve check, which is pretty bad. That's what it is. We obliterate the whites, which is fantastic. So I turn, these ones turn to face this way. These ones are facing this way. So all looking good. There's the 7 wounds I just told you about. Now this is a bummer. This is a bummer. So you remember I had unhindered, cavalry, hindered, and weakened Soul Reavers. I forgot to roll their elite. And I know I was on 4s because I was hindered, but I had a number of 1s that I didn't roll. And I think I missed the nerve check because they're a dash 24. I missed it by 1 or 2. It was a very little. And if I'd have remembered to roll my elite, I would have killed them. But I didn't. So there you go, 15 wounds. So that's not great, is it? So Nick's response. There was no wounds here, I think, at all. So he countercharges here. Oh, I kill the Rev King as well. That's worth saying. But by turning, you see, by turning, I actually can't see anything because my Rev Cavalry in the way. So that's annoying. So Soul Reavers come into these wraiths. The horse horde countercharges the Soul Reavers. And you'll see he's moved his whites off the hill down to here, and he's going to surge them into the flank of my Soul Reaver cavalry. That's bad. Countercharge there. There's the surge. So 9 wounds from the countercharge onto my horde. They're still okay. Yay, Revenant hordes. Wow. 11 wounds from that horde of cavalry onto my Soul Reavers. And they're wavered. Remember I told you it was important to remember that Nick took the anti-waver items on his Soul Reaver infantry. He then proceeded to lecture me about why I should take anti-waver items on Soul Reaver infantry. I didn't remember the elite, so I might as well have. Okay. Yeah, well, Soul Reavers fluffed it. His Soul Reavers fluffed it. So the Soul Reaver infantry unit onto white. So 4s and 4s, 25 on 4s and 4s, 4 damage. Terrible, really terrible. However, his Revenant Cavalry do kill my Rev Cav and then just overrun right up to my whites, which stops them being able to see over, but it doesn't stop them flying. So there you go. Turn 5. So at this point, it's looking very good for me because on that double charge that I did, I took the 3rd token. So I have 3 and Nick has none. All of his tokens still here. Right? So at this point, turn 5, he kind of goes, can't win, can I? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so, no. However, he is Nick Williams, so he does not give up. A bit of a legend. So we go countercharge here. Oh, obviously I forgot to say, apologies. The whites killed my cavalry in that flank charge. Of course they did. So he turns this way. So, countercharge here. Zombies go into the whites just to try and stop them flying. Very interesting positioning thing coming up. Pay attention to how these things are all positioned here. You don't have to. I'll tell you about it in a bit. These guys are wavered, so they just kind of sit here. It doesn't really matter because I've got my flank here. I really, thinking about it, no, I didn't really need a rear, did I? Maybe I could have flown and tried and got a rear with a surge. Whatever. Didn't. Went for the flank. Countercharged here. I just charged these cav here, and the reason I charged them rather than flying over was because I didn't want them turning and coming down to get this token. Just kill them. Ah, that's frustrating, isn't it? That's frustrating. So they were on 5 wounds. Do another 5 wounds. I failed to roll the requisite 7. He has got inspiring and he's managed to do that, so. We Bane Chanted them. Crush 2. Not enough. Couldn't do it. 1 wound from the zombies though. Go zombies. And again, you see the positioning here? It's important. I'll come back to this in a minute. And I cheat here. I only realised I cheated on reviewing these screenshots. So this regiment was of course wavered. So this troop killed the horde of horses that were there, and then I reformed these guys as well, despite the fact they weren't in the combat. And if you're thinking, Steve, that's outrageous, don't worry, because it's bad for me, not good. So yeah. We only do 3 wounds on the counter charge here, which is bad, but you know, such is life. And of course we murder the Rev Cav troop, and here I am ready to white you in the rear. So this is the clever bit that I want to tell you about. And it was a bit of a rules query that I'm still not very certain about. So Nick withdrew the whites 1 inch to there. He then turned, and then he could see here. He turned them nearly 90 degrees like this, and they came into the flank. Now you'll notice my necromancer is here. I thought that if you, because he would come into that charge here, right, on top of my necromancer, and I thought, well, that means you can't complete the charge because my necromancer's in the way. But we asked the tournament organizer, and he said, well, no, because as long as you can then reform into your final position away from that figure, it's all right. So we said fine. So he flank charges my Revenant Horde away from the zombies, which is poo for me. Anyway. And remember I told you about how this cheating I did over here is bad for me, because it allows his zombies to come around here to be surged into the flank. Whereas if they're in the position they should have been if I hadn't cheated, the zombies would not have been able to come down here because they didn't have enough movement. So there you go. Don't cheat, people, even if you didn't mean to. Zombies in the flank, surge. And the Horde dies with a stupendous amount of damage. That puts Nick in a very good position to do nice things. So, he also kills my Soul Reaver infantry. So my centre has now collapsed completely. So I've got whites here. He's got whites here, rather. He's got Soul Reaver infantry over there. He's got zombies here. And he manages to kill this troop, finally, with the Soul Reavers, and he decides that the choice of being surged in the back or charged in the front, he chooses to be charged in the front because you don't want whites in the rear. Turn 6, forgot to take a picture of the dice. But I take the front and rear, so it's a surge. I've surged with this Necromancer. And then I turn the zombies. Are they looking that way? I think they're looking that way, yes. I take the rear charge onto these zombies. Which is a mistake. A really big mistake, actually. Because what I should have done with them is turn them to stop the whites flying, because look what's here, it's a token. And I kind of forgot, I think, on turn 6 about protecting that. Because over here now, he's got his Soul Reavers and his whites. There's a token down there. That's the center token. He's got other tokens there, and these guys can fly. Uh-oh. So, take the rear charge. I think... Right, so the damage isn't... No, so, taking photographs rather quickly now because time is running down. I don't kill the zombies. I do kill the Soul Reavers. You will see 1 token, 2 tokens, 3 tokens still unclaimed on next turn in turn 6. However, the Soul Reaver infantry have moved down and turned. That's 3 inches. He's going to have that token. Okay. He's sitting on the center token. He wants to come down and get this one. So, turn 6. 5 damage on the counter charge. Doesn't do anything. So that's why end of turn 6. Okay, you can see that he has got 2. I have got 3. He's got the center token and this one. So that's 2, 3, 2. So I win turn 6. Yay! I win, everyone. Are you happy for me? Of course you're not. Turn 7. So turn 7, Nick goes, I think I can get a draw. And I look at it and say, I think you can get a draw too. Because what that means is these Soul Reavers, who have already taken this token, will then move onto the center. The whites will move down here and be surged onto this token. And he gets 1, 2, 3. I get 1, 2, 3. And that one goes. It's draw. Right? And that is in fact what happens. So my last ditch attempt. You see over here, the Wraith. So I have a flank here. These guys are out. Forget them. That battle doesn't matter. My last attempt to potentially take him out is a flank charge here. And I don't do it. You can see there. That's 9 wounds. 9 wounds is not enough to kill them. I don't roll the requisite. What is it? 8? I need to roll an 8 twice. I did not roll an 8 twice. Which meant that Nick could then put the Soul Reavers into my Wraiths, claim the center token because he's got more unit strength, claim this token, and pull off a sneaky draw. And that is the end. That is where we are. Sneaky draw. Gutting. There you go. Never give up. It really looked like I had that in the bag. Couple of very silly last mistakes or slips. Allowed Nick to pull that out of the bag. Really well played. What an enjoyable game. He's a very intense man to play. Very intense. So it actually worked out as a very high scoring draw, because you'll notice most of our stuff is dead. There's very little left alive. And it came out as a 17-16 to Nick. And you will be interested to hear that Tom Robinson, who is, of course, a Wildsburg player, won his game with a 20. So, I was only 4 points underneath a winning score. Nick was only 3 points underneath. So there you go. That was the end of game 2. So on to game number 3. By the way, that is the 5th game I have played against Nick in tournaments, and prior to that game we were 2 victories each, and now we are 2 victories and a draw. So rubbish. Still haven't decided who is the king. It's probably him. So 3rd game was against Matt and his Halflings. But Steve, I hear you cry, this was pre-Comp 22. That's right, and Matt had been lucky enough to play in a number of tournaments, using the beta list of Halflings, and there were sufficient players to qualify them for Masters, so he bought his beta list. Not the Aeronaut spam, which he took to Clash of Kings, because people yelled at him, because people are mean. So this is what he bought. He had 2 hordes of braves, 3 troops of stalwarts. So stalwarts are melee 4 defense 5. 2 hordes of rifles, which are an 18-inch piercing 1. 3 regiments of edge grenadiers. So these are like the flying chaff, basically. Brutal D3, pretty nice. 3 aeronauts. One with Mead of Madness, one with Blood of the Old King, one with Blade of Slashing. So there's the aeronaut spam. 3 volley guns. Alright, chill out. A sorcerer. By the way, sorcerers are amazing. So they can choose a rule each, and I think they can choose between brutal and wild charge and life leech, I think. So stuff like that anyway. And then they roll a d3, and that's how many of them they get as an aura. So Matt basically, after the first turn, just rolled brutal. And he had like Brutal 2 aura, Brutal 3 aura for 3 turns in a row. It was really very good. He had a Flying Engineer, so he given him the wings and an aura of Wild Charge, and a rifle. And a Sergeant with the Standard of Hudenbeek, which gives an aura of Elite to infantry only. So trying to get over some of that melee 5 and make it elite. A pretty cool list. Let's see how we did. So we were playing. I want to remember what it is. It was the one where you reveal the tokens on turn 3. What's that one called? You put down. Right, so anyway, I'll come to it. It'll come to me, I'm sure. Smoke and mirrors. So, forest height 6. Forest height 6. Tower height 6, tower height 6. We treated this as just a giant height 6 like cube going upwards like this. Check out my drawing. Wow, I'm slightly impressed with myself. Right, as opposed to just this bit. Anyway, this is a height 3 hill. This is also a height 3 hill. We have a flat difficult terrain and then 2 walls. I'm sure they didn't start the game there. Start the tournament there. And we might have once again one of these bloody awful cloth mats. But, you've got what you've got. The edge of the table is here. That's of relevance. You will see later. So, this is where the tokens went down. At the bottom of Ed Herzig there, I believe. So, in Smoke and Mirrors, which I think is what it's called, you put down bluff tokens. So you have 2 zeros, 2 ones, and a 2. At the end of turn 3, they are revealed. Yes. So Matt has put, these are Matt's ones, and these 4 here. And then these are mine. I couldn't remember what I put down, so I went through all of these screenshots and looked, and now I can tell you. So this is a 2, this is my 2, this is my 1, and this is my 1. Okay, so that's not, and that's not even mine, that's his. Forget that. That's a 0, and that's a 0. Okay, so the way I play this scenario always is I will cluster my tokens on one side, and then I will feint on the other side, and then put all my really kitty stuff here, and try and get these 3, and then just pray that I get one of the opponents. That's how I play. And this is how we set up. So, you will see my feint here. So I have put werewolves and zombies, which is not a very good feint, but I put a standard bearer there as well. However, Matt, in response on that side, has got Edge Grenadiers here. That's one of the stalwart troops. That one, I think, is Braves, and that one is Rifles. So quite a lot over there, really. None of the Aeronauts. So I'm thinking one of his tokens on this side must be something good, right? And then he's got, so Volleygun 1, Volleygun 2, Volleygun 3. Okay, so he's not clustered them, he's spread them. He's got Aeronauts spread as well, all 3 Aeronauts here, and I can't remember what each one has. He's got little cards on them, so as we get closer, you'll probably see what each one is. This is the Gastromancer, and this is the Flying Hero. We've got another Stalwart here, another Stalwart here. 2 more Edge Grenadiers, speed 10. We've got Braves, and then Rifles here, so these ones are the Braves, right? So he's kind of very spread out in his deployment, which makes me think that he's maybe spread out his tokens as well. I don't know, or he's just kind of spreading out to meet the threat. So I've got my Feint on this side, and then I've got all my chunky stuff. So I've got my Revenants here, we have Wraiths and Wraiths, Cav and Cav, Soul Reavers, and the other Soul Reaver Cavalry here. This is the Inspiring Necromancer, this is the other one, and they've got Whites, right? There's the Flying Mummy. So, what's my strategy? Not sure I had one particularly. I think it was just to get forward, put all my chaff forward, try and persuade him to waste his Aeronauts on chaff so I can then envelop. And then just get these 3. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to use the Pharaoh to get into volley guns to stop them shooting me, because volley guns are really deadly. And yeah, I think someone warned me. I said to his previous opponent, "Oh, any tips?" And they said, "Get rid of the individual as soon as possible." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I forgot that, and I regretted it because of the brutal aura. Anyway, so that's just some shots. Matt's army is lovely, by the way. You can see it's all airport theme. It's like a runway. The Braves are on a runway. And you see all the like bivouac little beds underneath his little planes. Really cool. All kind of like, these are 3D printed. I think these are ping pong balls that he's painted and then kind of dressed up. So cool. Really inventive stuff. Love it. Really lovely army. They all fit together as well. So these Edge Grenadiers, you can see they all fit together. There's an A for Aeronauts. Ah, it's great. Lovely and really nice guy as well. And that's my stuff. So you can see this is actually the edge of the board. Shambles. Yeah, you've seen enough of my army. I've just shown it to you already. So there we go. Turn 1. Which I won again. Ooh, what a lucky boy I am. So, Operation Deflect on the left goes ahead. So the zombies come forward. I'm not even sure why I came forward. And then the werewolves come like this. So my plan with the werewolves is to go this way as soon as possible. Okay. And everything else just kind of pushed forward. I didn't really a lot I could do. I wasn't terribly scared of any one thing. So Aeronauts are only speed 7, right? And these Edge Grenadiers, they don't hit very well. So I was happy for him to charge whatever. So I think I did some surges. Possibly. Yes, there they are. So we started like this. We surged like this. So I just surged the thing forward as far as possible with the surges I had, because I don't really mind. I've got my mummy here ready to go into this volley gun. Okay, and there we are. So in response, so having seen there's nothing scary, these Edge Grenadiers have come like this, which I'm not wildly worried about because there is a forest here, so the line of sight, whoops, some stops there, and these are fast enough to get past it. So we'll see. And then he's been cautious on this side because he wants to rely on his shooting. His shooting isn't great, it's all 5s, but there is a lot of it. And particularly on this side, he needs this volley gun, these rifles, and this character to shoot stuff off. Now, I think he made a mistake here. I'm not really sure why he did it, but he sent his Edge Grenadiers, who were here, straight into these. I think what he's trying to do is to block me up in this little gap, because the scary unit is, of course, the Soul Reaver Cavalry here, right? So he sent it into the Rev Cav to block up, but I think he could have waited a turn, if I'm honest with you, because he's got a turn of shooting, and then I can come forward 8 to about here, maybe 7 out here, and I've got my Soul Reavers will still be behind. And at that point, he's got double Aeronauts and Edge Grenadiers in, and he's got stuff over here. But I think he could have been a little bit more pushy with stuff. But you know, he's thrown those Edge Grenadiers. They're not going to do anything against Defense 5. They do even less against Defense 6. But and then they're going to get murdered the next turn. I suppose it does hold me here for a turn, which is why he's done it. So having talked it through with you all, I say all, with you, one person watching, I think it's probably actually an okay move. Because then he's got loads more turns of shooting. Alright. I'll take it back. So here, he's been cautious. What's really cool about Halflings, actually, is the Aeronauts are much taller than Edge Grenadiers, which means that the Speed 10 guys can go at the front and can whoosh forward. I know the models don't make them look as if they're taller, but they are. Yeah, so that's nice. And so he's just kind of waiting me out and trying to shoot me off. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, so there you go, 4 wounds. So I foolishly surged forward a little bit too far, so I'm actually out of cover. More than half of my base is out. So 4 wounds onto my wraiths, but they're okay, thank goodness. 7 wounds! 7 wounds! Guys, that's really bad. So that's from the volley gun, the character, and the rifles. Wow, 7 wounds against defense 6. Guys, wow. Anyway, fortunately, he can't roll a nerve check for Toffee. So there we go. So there you go, there's one of his nerve checks. So through this game, he rolled 1 away from my nerve, I'd say, at least 5 times. It just really, it became painful to watch. So here we are. So obviously 7 plus 4 makes 11, and they are a dash 12. Wah, wah, wah. Nice prototype. Turn 2. So, having survived the initial volley without losing anything, which I'm really pleased about. This is where we start. Oh, of course, there was 0 damage here against my Rev Cav. This is what we do. So I push my zombies forward because they're zombies, they can just die. And then I've turned and gone 18, like full maximum speed with the werewolves, because he can't see me here. I'm out to 20. He can't see me here. Can't see me here. And I just really want to put a lot of pressure on as soon as possible. So the mummy's gone into the volley gun, and then I have gone. Let's see if I've got a close photo. So I put the wraith, the 4 wounds wraith into the flank of the stalwarts, and I put the Rev Cav. I can see if we go back a little bit, see if we can see, yes. So I've got a wonderful little line of sight just here, right? So we've done a double charge there into these guys. The reason being is I then want to kill them, turn, so that all these things are tempted to attack the chaff rather than the actually dangerous things over here. So I'm outside of 14, so the aeronauts can't get in to my big stuff here. So it's just a distraction tactic. Mummy's gone into a volley gun. Did I say that already? Doesn't matter. And that's what everyone looks like there. I think I've got these guys back here. I'm holding them back a little bit because they're very shootable and they're in cover. So, you know. I think was that a surge? Yeah. So the Necromancer has surged these guys forward a little bit. That's what that is. I'm good at taking pictures today. Fluff of the game. The mummy into this volley gun did 0 damage, none whatsoever. So the volley gun is perfectly free to shoot next turn, which is rude. What happened? Oh yeah, so we murdered. This is the edge of the board, isn't it? So it's very confusing. See that? I don't know whose army is this? I think it might be Mark Cunningham's army. Anyway, so we kill the Edge Grenadiers and we push forward the unwounded unit onto my 1-point token. With life leech 1 there. Oh look, they did do 1 damage. That's their damage. Okay. Well done then. Yes, so we kill that unit of whatever they were called, stalwarts, and then we turn, temptingly. Right, so in response, so he's flown his Edge Grenadiers all the way over here, and he's brought up all this other stuff, and they're probably going to shoot my zombies. And then, so the we had a unit of these guys went in here where they were aeronauts. These are the blade slashing ones. You can see there, lovely. It does mean that this volley gun has nothing to shoot but a mummy on 6s, or possibly 7s. No 6s. And then so he took the stalwarts into the Rev Cav, which is, I mean, yeah, they were the target, I guess. But what is interesting is he's left these aeronauts where they are, and you will notice that they are now not aligned behind them. There's a gap. That's important. You will have to remember it. 2 green pebbles shows that that's brutal 2. Right? So this unit will now have brutal 2, as will this unit. Nasty. I think this is the flying guy. He's a sod as well. Should have killed him. Over here, he's merely backed up. So he backed everything up a little bit to be outside of 16. He's made the same error here. Can you see? There's a little lip showing here, and he hasn't moved these aeronauts across. It's just, I think, a thing that he didn't notice, which is going to be dangerous later on. And then you can see the Edge Grenadiers, who are over there somewhere, in the black bar of not correct photo size, have charged into the whites, which is the smart thing to do because they are the dangerous target and he's to hold them off. His hope, I think, if he kills these, he can then come in here, aeronauts can come in here, and it can all be good. So let's see how it goes. I've shown that already, but I'm showing it to you again. The rifles didn't move, by the way, so they've now got an uncovered shot on zombies, who take 8 wounds. Ouch! But once again, he fails to roll a decent nerve check. Tough times. That is why, what, who, shot. Oh, shot. So that is a volley gun. I think just a volley gun. Wow, they're so good. They already had 4 wounds, so he only got 1 wound. Anyway, he didn't roll the right nerve check again. Right. So 1 more wound from shooting onto these guys who already had 6 wounds. There's the nerve roll showing again. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1 away. Recurring theme. So 4 wounds from the Braves onto my Revcav, who are fine. 9 wounds from these aeronauts. Aeronauts are broke AF. They really are so powerful. So 9 wounds onto them, and he rolls a waiver, which is bad for me because I don't have any waiver mitigation. So they are just sitting there. Turn 3. So in this turn we're going to have a look at the token. So this is how it looks. These are a worry, aren't they? Because they can come into things here. I really want them to go into these and not into these. Anyway. This side is looking rather better because these guys are just totally unkillable, and next turn we're all coming in. So, zombies decide that's enough of being shot. Let's get out of here. We skedaddle off the hill, so he can't shoot me anymore. He probably still can shoot me with cover. Oh, but I'm probably outside 18 now. Yeah. And over here, so if you remember, we're here. So obviously the aeronauts only wavered my werewolves, so we get a lovely flank here. So I send the flank in, and then remember on this side what I've got is Edge Grenadiers. So rather than be rear charged by Edge Grenadiers, I just make the brave assumption that this flank is going to kill these guys, and I turn them 180 to face this way. Okay. Then the race that were here come into the volley gun to get rid of it. And the Pharaoh, who failed to do any damage to the volley gun last turn, decides to have a go with these aeronauts over here, because I do not want aeronauts coming to my whites. Right, I need to lock them down. So if I do 1 wound, they can't fly, and we're good. Counter charge here, and then obviously, so I take in order to avoid the Edge Grenadiers who are here, I take my Soul Reavers out of the wood onto the to help out them when the whites don't need help killing them, but it just gets them further away because they're a hindered flank. Who cares? And then over this side, so the Revcav are finally in range to charge into these rifles who've been bothering me, and then we move up. Like so, we've got my damaged wraiths and my Soul Reaver cavalry looking very dangerous. I think, yeah. I was thinking about what Matt should do on this side because he's got his aeronauts here. Held back. Let's have a look at what he does do next turn. So we kill the volley gun, which is great. Well done. Good boys. So the flank from the Revenants does 8 wounds. And I rolled a 1. Not necessarily, I think there are 13, 15, are they? I really should have looked when we went in. But they've got a good nerve. But I don't roll the requisite, that will be a 7. I rolled a 1 instead. So I guess werewolves are getting planes at the arse. We do 4 damage to those rifles, so they're not shooting me. And of course we utterly, completely obliterate those poor Edge Grenadiers. I think that's outside 20. I think. Anyway, that's how we look now. So Matt's turn, you can see him saying, "Oh, I'll take that rear charge." Yeah, thanks, buddy. Oh, there you go. We have 3 wounds there. Oh, I've never heard of that before. I really should have attacked this person. Anyway, whatever. I think this was the better choice. So here we go. So these stalwart troopers chasing these zombies like crazy. The Braves. There's a little table at the back of the base there. They're having a meal. It's kind of funny. So everything else comes forward. These guys turn around, ready to shooty next turn. We can shoot this turn, but with cover. Or having moved, whatever. The Edge Grenadiers go into the flank of the Revenants. I'm not that worried about that, despite all the brutal that's flying around. Yep. And then over here, so he chooses not to send the Aeronauts. Instead, I think he is going to plan to shoot off the Wraiths with the volley gun and the character. And then when I charge in, I will quote-unquote have to charge the Stalwarts. And then he can come with Aeronauts afterwards. I think that's his plan. Pretty good plan, actually. I think the way he's positioned this hero is going to would give him a problem if he kills the Wraiths. Because then I could just come into the character and then possibly overrun into the Braves. Might not be a sensible idea, but it would be super fun. Anyway, he double ones them. Oh, he doesn't double one them, he threes them, so really poor. So what were they on before? They were on 7. He does one more wound from that volley gun, and he rolls a 3. Which of course still equals 11, which is one less than their nerve. It's just like turn after turn after turn. Poor guy. One wound onto the cavalry, so at least I lose my Thunderous, and of course the werewolves. Just bits of werewolves fly everywhere. Which is like appalling. Oh, he's also put his flying character into my Wraiths on 4 wounds. Stop them flying over and doing nasty things to everyone over here. Sensible. And he bloody kills them. His character murders my Wraiths. Very rude. Anyway, so this is how we look over here. Oh, these are the tokens. These are the tokens we turn. The tokens over at the end of the turn. So you will see this token is a 0 for him. So I don't know really what we're chasing. But this one is a 1. There's a 1-point token over there. And then he's got his 2 here. There's the 0. That is the 1 next to the hill. And that's the 2. Now this one is right in the back corner. So his other token... I don't think we haven't got a shot of the whole table for a while. Sorry. It's all the way over there behind the tower. There it is. So that's outplay. Forget that. My, of course, I told you where mine are. One is now underneath my Soul Reaver Cavalry. The other one is there, now underneath these Braves. There's actually a Rev Cav unit there I've taken off to show you that. And the 2 is here. Okay, so just to summarise, now we've got the whole battlefield in play. We have a 1 here, a 2 here, a 1 here, a 2 here, a 1 here, and a 1 here. Is that all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Okay. So, I'm quite pleased with this. The 2 is here, and I've got a lot of unit strength. Right about here. That's great. Across these 2 2s, that's really enough to win the game. Plus, I've got this 1. So I'm like, okay. Quite happy. All this stuff is in the wrong place. Turn 4. So, because my Wraiths were fine, remember I told you before about the gaps that he'd left with his Aeronauts? I think he just didn't notice in the heat of battle. But I've got 2 gaps, so the whites go into these ones, and these Wraiths go into these ones. So now I've managed to get both Aeronauts, both of his worrying units, locked down, which allows my Soul Reaver Cavalry to go into the Stalwarts. I didn't take the individual, because it would have meant flanks and things bad. Back in here. Okay. At some point he shot my standard bearer. I think these rifles shot him last turn. Very mean. We're back in here. The Pharaoh's got bored of playing with planes, because whites are playing with planes now. He's going to come and play with this volley gun and try and rectify his error earlier. We've got the Soul Reavers are coming to the Aeronauts. And, oh, there's 1 point of damage by that. That flank charge from this Edge Grenadier is 1 point of damage onto my Revenants. Anyway, counter charge there. So, by counter charging, it opened up the pathway to allow me to come in there. Yes. And then the zombies are like, goodbye. My plan here is to try and just stay out of this little charge range, come across here, and try and get the unit strength onto this token. Let's see if I can manage it. So that is the Aeronauts exploding, because Soul Reavers do what Soul Reavers do. Edge Grenadier. 13 wounds we did to them. And a double one. Lots of double ones flying everywhere in this game. Crazy. Not overly worrying. Anyway. What's that? Who's that? 5 wounds. Oh, that's 5 wounds from the Rev Cav. 8 wounds from the Whites, who probably pooped the bed. But I think that green one, that green little thing means a waiver. So 8 wounds and a waiver on those aeronauts. And no damage. So we kill the stalwarts that were here. They're dead. But 0 damage from these 8 wounded wraiths. Maybe they just weren't feeling like it today. Disappointing. Anyway, these guys are now up to 6 wounds. And are failing consistently to do any damage to my horses. So yeah, that's there. I don't know what I'm showing you. Oh well, that's me showing you the volley gun is dead. Ha ha. Good. Well done, Pharaoh. I think on the first turn, I think I know why he didn't do any damage to that volley gun, because I forgot to roll triple attacks. You know, not a very good player. So, these guys still chasing down my zombies, and these guys decided to ignore zombies and come around here. And I thought, oh right, you're going to sit on that 1 point token forever. Let's see. These guys are weakened, by the way, which is what the yellow token is, which is why their shots are doing nothing. Aeronauts, I did that already, didn't I? Yeah. What are we showing here? Just a general lovely topic. We're showing the fact he got Brutal 2 again. Lots more counter charges there. Interestingly, again, these guys were wavered. I'd have turned them. Like, yay. Not like that, but like that. Because at least then I'd have to work to get the flank as opposed to just going into the flank. Anyway. The aeronauts on this side that were, of course, here with no damage on them are still flying because I failed to wound them, and so they come into the Soul Reaver Cavalry, who are the much more dangerous opponent. Good choice. And then he turns his cannon, his it's called Organ Gun, to try and shoot off this Wraith troop that has stubbornly refused to die so far. Ah, that's sad, isn't it? These Rev Cav have been here since turn 2. Anyway, he finally kills them. Brutal 2 very much helped with that. The Flying Hero. Oh, I think Flying Hero also helped with that. Yeah, so Flying Hero, who is a badass, also came in here and then overran 6. That's what's happened there. These guys refused to die, which is super. 7 wounds from aeronauts onto Soul Reaver Cavalry. Fortunately, they're okay. Phew. No damage onto my wraiths. Oh dear. Oh dear, not good. What's that showing? I don't think that's showing anything new. I'm just having another look again. Turn 5. So, turn 5 is how the battlefield is looking. Spicy, as Andy 2D6 might say. 2 point token here, 2 point token here, 1 point token here. All I need to win. Right? There's one here as well. I'm probably going to get that though, because zombies now trundling off. Bless them. So we go from here to here. We're still outside of 10, but I think it can't last. Right? It can't last. So the Revenants come into the Edge Grenadiers, who would have won last time. I didn't do any. I think I did 3 wounds. There you go. 3 wounds. Well done then. So we countercharge there and say, how dare you? How dare you? Because the plan is to get this 2 with my Revenants. We take the Soul Reavers into this Braves Horde, and we finally decide to get rid of this Sorcerer who's been ruining my life. With the Mummy, we take the flank onto those aeronauts. We do a very nasty piece of positioning with my Wraiths, who of course were here with their 8 wounds that refuse to die turn after turn after turn after turn. And we turn around here to get a nice rear surge from this Necromancer. Soul Reaver's going back into the aeronauts, and I think they might not be long for this world. I mean, crazy dice, right? It was only 2 wounds, but it was a nice double 1, just to show we got another one. Can't use Gastromancy when you're disordered anyway. So yeah, to you, Brutal 2. Anyway, the Edge Grenadiers die, and then I turn like yay. So now I have this 2 point token, and I'm inviting you to charge me. I don't want them to charge me this turn actually, because then I wouldn't be on the token. But I couldn't do anything else, could I? So there you go. You will note the 25 wounds on these aeronauts. You will also note the double 1. And you will also note that this Horde is dead. So the Horde, I did the Horde first, and I turned my Soul Reavers this way, and then my Whites double 1 the aeronauts. Flankety flank, flankety flank. It is devastated. However, it is still a flank on Blast D3s. Not good. We get the surge in there. We do 17 wounds in the front and rear. and only a waiver. So that's not great, is it? Still haven't died, but we did finally kill something over here. That's great. They're dead. The aeronauts that were there. I've left myself facing that way. I think it's because I can see everything I need to see. But I think I would have been... I think maybe I just want to... Yeah, okay, because I want to kill the gun. I want to kill the gun because it's annoying me. So I think that's just showing that again. Yep. Okay, that's just another ender. I'm very keen on taking pictures. So, yep, so as predicted, these guys come in. I really don't think I can get away from them now. Chasing them. Imagine this whole game, the entire game. This is turn 5. All they've been doing is chasing a regiment of zombies. Stumbling away. However, the Braves have come up to join the rifles. So I think he's going to have a shot with the rifles first and then maybe try a double charge next turn, turn 6. He takes the devastated flank. Why wouldn't you? That just is as it is. I think it's going to be shooting into these guys to try and get rid of them. And he does. He bloody does. So the organ gun and the character shoot off my sorry, cavalry. Disappointing. I am disappointed. However, I was not disappointed. So he also put the character in as well, who was such a badass last turn. And this devastated flank. 9 wounds on my Soul Reavers, and he doesn't manage the waiver, which is superb. Superb. Turn 6. So this is how the battlefield looks at turn 6. So I've got a problem, really. I can't get this one anymore, right? So I need this one. I'm going to have this one because it's underneath. There's one under there, right? So that's 3. Okay. But realistically, the Braves are going to get this one because the zombie's going to die. And if not, he can at least get it with this one. So that's 1. So it very much comes down to this token. If I get it, I win. If Matt gets it, it's a draw. Right, because we've got nothing else we can get in. So it really boils down to what do I do with this Revenant Horde? Kind of cool, right? Let's see what I do. I do this. So I was really proud of this. And I wasn't sure I'd done it quickly because we were running very low on clock. You will in fact see that I have clocked out. I am out of clock. Matt has 8 minutes left. All right, turn 6. So down this, he's like, what do you want to roll? Choose what you want to roll quick. You've got 2 minutes, or it's 1 minute at that point, right? So I push the zombies over onto this token. You will see he can still see me, unfortunately. So hoping for double 1 to get that one. That would be lucky. And I put my Revenants. I literally shoved them forward, praying I got it right. The token is about here. So if he takes the double charge, so I am unit strength 4, unit strength 3, unit strength 3, I think, right? If he double charges, he will end up like this. Like, not like that, but you know what I mean, like this. This horde will be in range of the token. This one won't be, so I get it, right? But I wasn't sure I'd done it right, and there was just murder. I think I killed off the aeronauts just for the unit strength. And I sat back on the 2. If he kills these guys with his character, I lose that 1. All right, interesting. And these guys just kind of sat here. I think I moved the wraiths here so that next turn I can surge them onto. If I get a 7, we can go and get that 1. And he takes the double charge on his turn 6. He takes the rear charge into my zombos over here, and he takes the charge with his character into my Soul Reavers. So, okay, that's right. Puts them up to 9. So they're on 6. Gets them up to 9. Doesn't kill them. Yay! So I get that 1. 6 wounds here. Doesn't kill them there. That is the end. So if I can show you, I got away with it just about. So he didn't kill that one, so I got a 1. If I hadn't have got that, I'd have had a 2 and the 2 here. So the token is actually here, and that is just outside 3. So by the skin of my teeth, I thought he just went, "Oh, you've won, well done," and I went, "I really have to check this." I had a moment of thought, so I just say, "Yeah, I have." I thought, nah, you don't want to play like that. You see the zombies down here are dead, so he's definitely got 1 there. I've definitely got 1 there. And I've definitely got 2 there. Right? So if he's got enough unit strength from this token, it's a draw. If not, I win. And he was like, "Yeah, you win, well done." And I was like, do I want to be that guy? I went, no, I think I really need to check. So I measured it, and thank God I did it. I did it. So it's there. I think it's just underneath here or something. Anyway, then it's just out of 3. So I won that token, 4 unit strength of 3, and got away with the game. So I finished off with a win. So I went loss, draw, win on day 1. So here we are. This is the leaderboard at the end of day 1. So just to see where things have got to. So I have managed to claw my way back up the table. I am now sitting pretty at 11th. There's Nick, just above me, who also won his last game by the same points, or 1 less point than me. I don't know. Anyway, we are equal on points. You see all 3 here equal on 46s. At the top, you've got Tommy Robinson, smashing everyone. There's Dan King. You know, all the usual faces that you might know. Chris Walsh, I think, lost his 3rd. He lost his 2nd and 3rd, so he's now dropped below me there after my first match. So yeah, that's where we are at the end of day 1. All right, I'm going to put this video up now, and then I'll get cracking over the next couple of days on games 4 and 5. I hope you can stand the tension. And we'll be back soon. Thanks for watching if you watched this far.